Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 585, I think. What is up? Ed is with us. Good morning, Ed. John, click the thumbs up. Thank you so much. Good morning, Uncle Rich. I'll start it off because tonight I'll be on Hobby Hotline with Uncle Rich and Texas Card Dude. Check out Hobby Hotline tonight, 8 p.m. Central. It's going to be fun. This is the show that I've really been, not that I haven't looked forward to previous hobby hotlines that I've been on, but this is one that, because I know that we have great chemistry and I know that we'll have a good time. So Uncle Rich and Texas Card Dude and myself tonight on Hobby Hotline, 8 p.m. Central. Looking forward to it. Card Hobbyist, good morning to you. A wild night in Minnesota for Jenny. Hopefully everything is okay over there. I think we're supposed to get some rain today. I don't know if we're supposed to get storms today, but we do need rain because I don't want to water again today. So that's and I need the rain to take away some of the pollen. My allergies weren't as bad yesterday as they were. Sunday was just absolutely brutal, awful. I mean, I was taking Benadryl. I was snorting the nose spray. Much better yesterday, but I still, and even today, I still have the itchy eyes, but definitely not as bad as Sunday. Victor, good morning to you. Good morning, Abraham. D. Pyers, good morning. And I believe, David, I was going to combine all of your items that you purchased into one package. I think I sent the cards and not the other stuff. So I'll be sending the other stuff today. So I apologize for that. Jenny says, oh, it's going to be weird for everyone to remember Hobby Hotline because it's like a Monday today. I am so screwed up. And I'm always screwed up because it's like, what day is it? But yeah, I have no idea what day it is. And I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh yeah, Hobby Hotline tonight. Tomorrow is tomorrow's the important garbage day because it's also recycling day. And we recycle a ton. So it's always like garbage day. We can miss a week of garbage day because the garbage cans are huge. The recycle bins are huge, but the recycle bins get filled up really fast. So we cannot afford to miss a recycle day, but we can afford to miss garbage days. Rich says, just ran my first card show in 26 months, so we can talk about show promoting. I am looking forward to that because I want to hear how your show went. And I'm learning, and you've done far more shows than I have. And I don't know how many shows I'm in now, 13, 14 shows in, 15 shows in maybe. And I'm learning something new every show. It's just some little things. So it's interesting. Like, every month there's something new that may pop up that hasn't the month prior. Robert, good morning to you. First day of retirement. That is awesome. Congratulations to Robert. That is sweet. That is awesome. Zach, good morning to you. Looks like Porter had an awesome birthday yesterday. Dan is with us. What is up, Dan? Herman, good morning. You guys don't get a delayed on day on garbage with holiday. We do. No, we don't, which is weird because in the previous city I lived in, we did. So if our normal garbage day was Wednesday during a holiday week, like this week, it would be on Thursday. But I think they pile on like Monday and Tuesday is on Tuesday. So it's like double duty. So I'm sure your normal time is late if you're a Monday or Tuesday garbage day. But I think it's on I think they're on the same time. We push back garbage one day because of the holiday here. And I think that's normal. Like, I think that's like everywhere I've lived, well, which is only really like 3 cities, one town, one small city, and one larger city. My small town, it was pushed back a day. Now, that was because they only ran one garbage truck. Like the whole town had just one garbage truck. So, and I think it was Mondays. So I guess that doesn't count. It's obviously going to be pushed. But when I lived in Macomb in Illinois, it was a larger city with multiple garbage days. And yes, we were pushed back a day, but here we're not pushed back a day. So I don't know where that extra work, what day that extra work is going in. Let's see. Brad came to the show so he can share his wisdom. It's like Monday, but it's not. We push back garbage one day, so I don't have to worry about trash collection tonight. Dan says there's a Burley card I need on eBay, but not paying $12 to ship from Canada. Yeah, I responded to your tweet. Don't think he would do PWE based on his, if you don't like my shipping fees, please do not bid. So I feel bad for Canadians because I won't ship to Canada outside of, like trades. So Dan, the shipping that was calculated is accurate. Going from the US to Canada, it's like $12.50 for a bubble mailer, like a 3-ounce bubble mailer that's $3-4 within the US. It's like $12-13 to Canada. I had a couple trades back when I was doing a lot of trades, to Canada. One was just a bubble mailer, and it was like junk wax. It was a trade for like basically commons. So I had to pay $12.50 for about 40 common Cubs cards. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I had like a bigger trade, which fortunately was, there were, some more decent cards included. But it was like an 800 count box. $50. It was $50.50 to ship from US to Canada in 800 count box. And this was like 3 years ago. This was back in probably 2018, 2019. And so I'm unfamiliar with shipping to Canada. On eBay, I use the global shipping program, which, sucks for international buyers, but is great for sellers. So I asked the clerk, which I know that's like the last thing you should do because they just want to upcharge you. And I think the clerk that I asked was actually like, on the up and up. It's like when the ones you don't know, that's when they're trying to get you. She's like, you could send it priority, but it's going to be like, in basically a Canadian flat rate box or whatever it is. And it was like, it's going to be like, it's actually like $1 more or something. I can't remember, but it was $50 to send 800 cards to Canada. That's when I put a stop to Canadian trading. So yeah, I feel bad for Canadians because the shipping is so much. But you can, if it's only a card or two, you can send it in a white envelope, but you're going to run into no tracking. So if it's a higher dollar card, you don't want to do that. But I think international stamps are like $1.25 US. I think those could have gone up. I think that's what it was a couple of years ago or a year ago. Maybe they're $1.50, but it's a stamp is fairly inexpensive when it comes to sending to Canada. That 70s card show garbage delay here in Pennsylvania. Recycling pickup is every other week for us, so we can't afford to miss either. Yep, that's how we are over here. Robert says, appreciated your short video yesterday about how nonstop having your own card business is. That type of transparency is needed across the hobby. Thank you. You're welcome. And I wanted to touch on that this morning because I didn't do that video as like a woe is me, I'm selling cards, I can't go out and have fun. That's not what I wanted. And I think everybody here knows that's not the point of that video yesterday. But maybe somebody that's new to the channel, doesn't know me, they may interpret that as me complaining about selling cards full time and all that. And that's completely not the case. It's actually the exact opposite. But Robert, that's exactly why I wanted to do that, because people ask. And when I was on with Ty from Bench Clear Media talking about, he's like, what can people expect selling cards full time? And I'm like, it's a grind. It's like my work day is like 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's like, and I can't remember what his comment was, but it was like, oh, now nobody's going to want to do it. And that's, I think people see the mystique of, and I think there's many careers, jobs out there that people see this mystique that, ooh, that sounds so, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. There are pitfalls and you have to make sacrifices. And I want people to know I'm not just, sitting in my basement playing with baseball cards. And I think that was one of the comments. Somebody said something about your wife pays for your insurance and you're playing with baseball cards. And that's not it at all. Transparency is what I wanted to get across, that, it's not there's no holiday, like there's no weekends, there's no holidays. It's an everyday grind, and it's a lot longer hours, but to me it's fun, it's worth it. And so that's kind of the point that I wanted to get across. And I did read some of the comments. I saw John, that 70s card show, made a great point. If you were working an office job, I'd be dreading Monday night to go into the office Tuesday morning. That's 100% accurate. I would completely be dreading Monday night, and I would sleep until the last minute in the morning before I had to go into the office. So that is absolutely correct. I would much rather be in my basement shipping cards on a 90-degree sunny Memorial Day than waking up and having to go to the office on Tuesday. So that's the point I wanted to get across, that it's not all fun. And my wife's in real estate, and people see the money that can be made in real estate, and oh, you're just showing houses all day. But I get to see the nitty gritty, the dirty side. And actually it's not dirty side, but just sometimes it can be messy with clients, and that's in any sales position. You can have different clientele, that some can be more challenging than others. I worked in radio. Everybody wanted to work in radio because, ooh, I get free concert tickets. Oh, you have, I think every station I worked for had season tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs. Oh, wow, you have free tickets. And it's like, well, as an employee, you don't get those. Those are like for giveaways. And yes, I was able to go to, some events, some games and events, but it's not, it's not all free concerts and tickets. It's a grind, and you don't get paid diddly when you're working in radio, especially in the small markets. So it's a grind. There's a lot of those jobs and careers that people, they see all the positives, but they, fail to see or neglect the grind and the dirty work that goes into it. John says we've got a couple of holidays coming up in the UK for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. That just sounds fun. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee. That sounds really fun. So we're off Thursday and Friday. Did you get caught up on shipping so you can make a final day of the month push to get your listings up? No, I'm still buried. Still over 100 items to ship. Actually, I had a big sales, and that was because I had a big sales day yesterday, which was kind of surprising. My traffic's down, but my sales were up. I'd rather have my sales up and traffic down. I'll take that every day of the week. But yes, I'm still shipping, but I'm at a much more reasonable spot now that I'll be able to get some listings up, because I did dip down to like 11,800 active listings from, I think I was getting close to 13,000. So a lot of sales over the last week. Let's see. Never feel bad for Canadians. They gave us Russian John Candy. So many natural resources. I love John Candy. Not so much Rush. Although every once in a while I'll crank up Rush. Diego, what is up? Have a great Tuesday. Back at you. Card Hobbyist says costs a lot to cross imaginary lines with cardboard. Where are we at here? John says there's a couple of companies in the US that you can send eBay purchases to just to avoid the international shipping. Yes, there is. So I wait until I've got 50 to 100 cards before getting them sent over to the UK. And I can always tell when I do have international shipments that are going through these. There's I think 3 big ones. There's Ship My Cards. That's probably the one most people know. Then there's some others that don't really have a name, but Portland, Oregon. I think a lot of the Portland shipments will be sent to, the Asian countries, Japan, that way. There's also Ship My Cards. I think Ship My Cards is in Arizona. Litchfield Park, I believe, is where Ship My Cards. And then there's a couple on the East Coast, and those are probably the ones that are being sent to the UK. I think there's one in, what is it? Is it Delaware? It's one of the smaller. It's not Rhode Island. It might be Delaware. I can't remember, but I think there's 2 over on the East Coast, and I'm sure those go to like the European countries. Rich says those type of hours are actually true for most people who run their own business. Yes, absolutely. Definitely for my wife in real estate. I mean, she's working from like 8 a.m. to almost midnight on most days during this peak season in real estate. John says, Bo, my schedule is 24/7, essentially on call. At this stage of life, we all realize there's no perfect situation. The grass is never greener. Absolutely. John, unless the lawn mowing guy spray paints it greener. Free concert tickets. Amazing how many friends you have when that is presumed, right? Yeah. How many times did I, hey, can I get some White Sox tickets for the weekend? And if you have the morning show, you have to get up way early in the AM. So going to an event can be tricky. Yeah. Fortunately, I was in radio in my 20s, so I could handle that late night, early morning duo. Close the bar down at 1 a.m., get 3 hours of sleep up at 4 or 5, and back at it. If I had that energy. I think we all wish that. Card Hobbyist says, all perspective. Some people think being a baseball player is easy, like they show up, play a game, get paid millions, and go home. They don't see the insane amount of work it takes to be an athlete, and not just professional athletes. This is what I worked in Division I college athletics for 3 years, and that's from that experience is why I am such a proponent of the NIL and athletes being paid, because you couldn't get paid for anything as an athlete. And it's like people say, well, they can get a job. Well, they're getting free education. They can get a job. No, they can't, because they don't have time. It's, being a Division I college athlete, it's basically a full-time job on top of being a full-time student. And yes, they have, tutors within the department. They get, some meals, but on breaks they don't. And so, coaches can't pay for those meals because those are NCAA violations. So, it can be tough, and especially for the kids in Division I college athletics that don't have that family structure with money. Based on their upbringing, they may not, it can be very difficult for them. And so that's a lot of the reason why many jump, at the chance to get that payday in the NBA when it comes to basketball, because they weren't afforded the opportunities that other athletes and students were. So that's why I'm a big proponent, because I saw it firsthand, some of the struggles that college athletes had, because they couldn't go out. They, if you're a student, and student non-athletes can get scholarships too. It's called academic scholarships. Yes, athletes on scholarship or on athletic scholarships. A regular student can get an academic scholarship. It's, pretty similar. But the difference is the academic scholarship students can go and work at the grocery store, or go bag groceries at Wal-Mart, or, work at the local cafe. They can get those jobs, where a student athlete, especially at the Division I level, doesn't have those opportunities to make income. And so that's why I'm a big proponent of the NIL. So yeah, and I got off on that tangent because Card Hobby is talking about perspective of being a baseball player. It's not easy. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. Nothing's easy in life. That 70s card show says, wife and I had heart to heart about the lawn. They're on notice. Let's see. Dan says, did you get a new debit credit card solely for your biz? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I opened, before it became a business, I opened a separate checking account for my eBay when Managed Payments came out, just to keep eBay separate from, personal stuff. And then when I started the business, I have a business account, business credit card. So absolutely 100%. Jenny says, well, you did say June of 2021 was the busiest month of sales. Looks like it's starting a couple days early. It has been very busy the last few days. Hopefully that trend continues as it did last year. I've shipped my pants, but I've never shipped my cards. Get it shipped. Vermont. Thank you, John. Get it shipped. Yes. Ship my cards. Better enunciate better. Ship my cards. Is in Arizona. Get it shipped is in Vermont. Yes, I knew it was one of in another state. I think the other state might be Delaware. Vermont. Thank you. Cooter is with us. What is up, Cooter? Jenny says, how's your last 31 days compared to the previous 31? Mine's green 46.7% on the dollar front. Mine is up, but not that up in terms of dollars. But part of that reason is there's an outlier there because that big $1,300 sale is the previous 31 days. So that's going to skew it a little bit. So my last 31 days, dollars are up 24%, 23.9%. Now my impressions, eyeballs on my eBay store, down 9%. Again, a lot of that has to do with Bowman, which came in the previous 30-day sector. Sales conversion has gone up, and I think that has to do with last week's 50% off sale. So my sales conversion rate is actually up 1.5% to 7.5%, which is good. Let's see. One of my customers was Marcus Smart's coach in high school. He always said he was both the most talented player and the hardest working player he ever coached. That's awesome to hear. When you have that combo, good things occur. Most definitely. As I realize people watching on replay will see the title and wonder what the picture is. They will regret not buying something from. I bet it's something in one of those boxes behind you. Possibly. Hey, could be. I signed my son to an NIL this summer. Only requires him to intern with an engineering firm 5 days a week and wait at a restaurant the other 2 days. Win-win for both of us. I love it. John, did you figure out the third steak situation? John says, yes. Apparently we hosted a high school reunion last night. So was cooking for his high school pals. Dude knows how to host. Card Hobbyist says, sorry for causing a tangent. No, tangents are good here. We like tangents on Hobby Evolution. So yesterday I shipped all day, and I did, and actually I think right around the time I was doing the video, and I actually had fun doing that short video, just a 2-minute, just an opinion, throw it on YouTube. I may do more of that if I'm sitting on the patio and something crosses my mind. I just may do a quick video, throw it up on YouTube, put a little thumbnail on there, and see how it goes. It got more traction than I expected. So I may do more of that. But I think at the same time, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw a post on a Target store. Actually, I think it was a Walmart store with all of the product on the shelves. And there's just this, I think it's a misconception that just because a shelf is full means it's overproduced. Now, a year ago, there was nothing on the shelf. And we had to blame, I mean, there's always a scapegoat. If there's too much product on the shelf, it's overproduced. If there's no product on the shelf, it's because of the flippers. There's always a scapegoat. Or I think in the case of I think it was Top Series 1. Top Series 1 was hard to find a couple months ago. People were clearing the shelves. There was a lot of demand for it. And I think, and this is extreme examples. And it's common, quote is you got to zig when everybody else zags. And I think I hear it the most from Brian Gray from Leaf. He uses that term often. You got to zig when everybody else zags. And look back through history, and these are extreme examples, okay? And I know this is, semi-flawed, so you can pick it apart if you will. 1952 tops. There was so much of it left over that they dumped it in the Hudson River because nobody wanted it. Now look at it. Okay, that's pretty extreme example. I get it. 1991, we're in the height of the junk wax era. And you couldn't find and I've read back just because I was 10 years old at the time. I was full on in the hobby by that point in my childhood. I was buying packs of cards. I was reading Beckett from cover to cover. I was into the hobby, but I wasn't an adult. So I wasn't really understanding the business of the hobby and how supply and demand worked and all that. It was, oh, hey, a Bo Jackson card. This is a good card. Oh, hey, Kevin Moss. He's really good. We want his rookie cards. So 1991. So I've gone back now here in the last couple years because I've wanted to kind of learn through newspaper articles. And yes, I'm a nerd. I have a newspapers.com subscription. It's a wonderful website. Um, I if you're a nerd like me, and I like local history, so I like looking up like historical articles about my hometown and just the area, and especially when it comes to trading cards. And I think there was a paper it might have been Scranton, Pennsylvania. I know it was in Pennsylvania, and there was a local columnist. I'm sure he was a big collector. He wrote a weekly baseball card column in the height of the junk wax era. Go back and reading some of those, and just the flurry of hobby articles during the 1988 to 1992 period, just fascinating. And there were some articles where it's like, we can't keep, I think Topps, I hate using the word overproduced because, and I think somebody brought it up in this chat recently. What is overproduced? At what point is it overproduced? I think that's spot on. But there was an article that it's like, we've got this, but we can't keep, and I don't know if it was exactly 1991 Fleer, could have been Score or Donruss, I don't know, but it was one of those non-Topps brands in the early 90s that a card shop owner was quoted as saying, we can't get it in stock. And as soon as we get it, it sells out. And it's like, let's just say it was 1991 Fleer. Everybody wanted 91 Fleer. You couldn't find it in 1991. Now it's everywhere and nobody wants it. So I think there's this kind of misguided perception of, if it's on the shelf, nobody wants it, it's not good, and it never will be good. Where there was a photo floating around during the pandemic, and I don't think Michael's with us live in the chat today, but Michael hates when these store shelves are posted with all the, whether they're empty or full. And I love them because they are great photos in time that we can look back on, and 3 years later we may see this full shelf, the same shelf we walk past at Walmart or Target, and we look at the products on the shelf and it's like, oh, this is just garbage, I don't want this, I want the hot product, the right now hot product, whatever that may be. Prizm football, is that out? I don't know. Whatever the new hot product is, but we walk past it because, well, if it's still on the shelf, nobody wants it. But in 3 years, we may see, and it could be those heritage mega boxes. Wander Franco maybe he becomes the next great player. He could, you don't know. It could be another guy like Vidal Brujan. Who knows? But some rookie in that product could be good, and everybody's chasing the white chrome or purple chrome, whatever it is in those mega boxes. Or it could be Bowman U, which I think that's the product. If the thumbnail image, which isn't the full image on the thumbnail, but the full shelf, and I did tweet about it yesterday, there's at least one product in there that you walk by every shelf in Walmart or Target, there's going to be one product, at least one product, that are sitting on store shelves right now that in a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years down the road, they're going to be 10x retail price or 5x. We just don't know which one it is. But I guarantee you, one of those products, and there's how many are on that shelf? 20? One of those, at least one of those. And my prediction, just my opinion, I think it's going to be Bowman U. I think the NIL is going to take off. And I think Bowman is going to be in the lead there because Bowman is, the old late 90s slogan for Bowman, home of the rookie card. Now it's home of the first Bowman card. I think that's going to take over. Now, do I think those are going to be sought after long term as a player goes, into the NFL when it comes to, football? I don't know, because there's still that negative perception on airbrushed photos, and with the Bowman U, not only are they not in NFL uniforms because they're still in college, but they can't have college uniforms. You can't cross the NIL with the NCAA license when it comes to Panini. And obviously, when Topps is making the products, they don't have any license outside of the NIL when it comes to college. So those uniforms are airbrushed. And what's difficult for me as, kind of a fringe college football fan is I don't really know some of these guys. I had a couple next to me. It's like, I don't even know where they go to college. So I have to Google them. If I want to list a couple singles in eBay, I have to Google, like, where does Brian, who is the running back? I think he's an Ohio State running back, Brian Anderson, or maybe Alabama. I can't remember. Anyway, I have to Google it because I don't know. But I think that product is going to be hot. I think, especially come fall, I don't even think Bowman U is going to be a long-term hold. I think this fall, I think by August. In fact, this week when I go make my retail run, and I won't be making a retail run. Well, maybe I will Friday. I'll probably pick up a couple more blasters. I bought, I think, 7 total 2 weeks ago, and I have 5 left. I opened 2, or maybe I bought 8. I think I bought 8 blasters and I opened 3. So I know I have 5 sealed left, and I'm just going to hold on to them until the fall. And here's my thoughts on it: is by the time fall comes around, college football is in full gear. You're going to have some Heisman hopefuls in these sets with first Bowman. Some of them, I know some, like CJ Stroud already has a first Bowman. That was like an online issue, but a lot of first Bowmans in this product. And so I'm looking forward to see where the market lands on these, especially in the interim, because, some of these players, I think like Matt Corral was an NFL draft pick. So he's going to have NFL cards. So how does that land? And this is all new territory. We don't know. We can have our opinions, but we don't know. Are these going to be hot cards or not? I think at least in the interim, Bowman U football will be hot cards while they're still in college. And there's, say a player gets hot and is a Heisman hopeful. This is the only card he has. But once he starts getting NFL cards, then the price may decrease. So I think it's kind of like in prospecting in baseball, where, a player gets hot in the minor leagues. Usually that's like the peak, unless he becomes like hits 10 home runs in a row or something in the big leagues. But usually that peak in prospecting comes at some point in the minor leagues. And it's like, well, I'm going to just wait till he gets to the big leagues. And by that time, you've been holding the bag too long. And so I think that could be the case for Bowman. So let's go to the chat really quick. Let's see. Where are we at? Bo is let's see. Did I get that? Okay, so Robert says if the grass looks greener on the other side, it's probably because there's a lot more manure, right? Rich says Bo is a radio guy and he will tell you the best radio is when you go to new territory. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That 70s card show, John says, only people who care about overproduction is people who sell. That's half the hobby. Collectors say produce away. And that's exactly correct. Especially in my terms of thinking, like Top Series 1, I'm a collector when it comes to that. Overproduce it, whatever overproduce means. Just make it available for everybody. But when it comes to Bowman U or Bowman, pump the brakes a little bit, because I want to hold this stuff and I want it to retain value. So John makes a great point there. Brian Gray is a promoter, not a safe. Dead on that 70s card show. I prefer the availability of product. Jenny says, I only hate when people post and say, what should I buy? Okay, that does annoy me. It's like, just go to eBay. If you're wanting to flip, just go to eBay and look it up. Because by the time people are going to give you answers, you're probably going to be out of the store anyway. John says no 35 millimeter film rolls were wasted filming retail shelves. Baby formula again. It's sad about the baby formula. Geez, as an adult, if they sold out of chicken, I can go hamburger. As a baby, they got formula, right? Card Hobbyist says the first licensed collegiate NIL cards could be hot. And I'm really stoked to find out, because of my background in college athletics and and my love for Bowman, I'm really excited to see the future, the potential of what these cards do. And maybe they fall flat and they never take off. But I'm interested to find out. Looking forward to Bowman pre-K. Hobby is heading south real fast. Leaf Band Camp drops first week of August. Pre-order now. Cooter says I've gone to multiple retailers and not one has had a single pack of 60 Leaf or 66 tops. Right? What should I buy? Flat rate medium boxes full of 90s cards. There you go. And that's always going to be for me. That's always going to be, 90s cards I'll probably pass on, but I'll always go with a collection in a big lot as opposed to wax. Unless it's Bowman, then I'm probably going to pull the trigger on Bowman. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on kind of a misconception on overproduction and what exactly is overproduction, because it may not be overproduced. Today we may consider it overproduced, but in the long run, is it actually overproduced? We can't find it. And even going back, staying on Bowman, there's always, Bowman, there's so much, it's just Bowman. But in the past, you go to a retail store for blasters, Bowman's on the shelf for like a week, and that's it. There's no restocks. So there's kind of that misconception that it's always going to be available, and that's really not reality in most cases. But like Top Series 1, there was a lot of that produced. But there's been demand. Does that mean there's going to be demand a year from now? Probably not, because it's Top Series 1 and we're on to next year's tops. So it's just kind of where it is. Baseball card curmudgeon, what is up? Good morning to you. Jenny says Bowman is what I'm going to be listing today. First Bowman's at $1.50. That's kind of where I think I listed all my first Bowman papers for $2. But I think I'm going to drop those to $1.50. Just to move some inventory. That 70s card show nearly bought a Gaylord yesterday, but it was in North Texas. How do your pallets end up in Madison? I think it's just all local. And I know at least one boxes were from a guy that lives like in the same town, or has the same same town address as me. Because he saw on Twitter I posted, a card. He's like, hey, I donated those to Goodwill. I'm pretty sure those are my cards that I donated. Victor says, help me understand why the fascination with the Bowman brand. Oh, that's a great question. So I think it all starts back in 1989 and not with Bowman, not the 89 Bowman. Although I did love 89 Bowman when it came out. Then I hated it because it was taller than all the other cards. I hate 89 Bowman now. In 1989, I loved it. But that's not where it starts. In 1989, I fell in love with baseball cards and the Ty Griffin Cubs draft pick card. So I kind of always had a fascination from that point on with minor league cards, minor league prospects, and all that. I was out of baseball cards. I was into football and basketball in the early 90s, mid 90s. When I got back into baseball cards, it was 1998. So I guess that's where it was kind of born. But I had, by that point, I was, still into minor league baseball, prospects and all that. And I saw 1998 Bowman, and I got my driver's license that summer. And me and a friend of mine was also a collector. We were both kind of semi-collectors at that point because we were 16. We were doing other things. But on Sundays, we would drive to near the Quad Cities. It was a town called Kelowna, which is just outside on the Illinois side of the Quad Cities. And they had a card shop in like a strip mall. Can't remember the name of the card shop, and it actually closed like a year later because eBay. And I remember that because the kid that worked there, he was just like a weekend kid that, was our age, maybe a couple years older. I remember him saying like, eBay is just forcing us out. This was like 1999. So in 98, I saw, that was my very first 1998 Bowman. And Bowman back then, I think, came in series. I think it was series 1. I bought a hobby. That was my very first hobby box that I bought on my own. And it was my first baseball hobby box that I opened. I got one for Christmas. A 91 Upper Deck football box was my first ever hobby box. But baseball 98 Bowman was my first baseball box. And I just absolutely loved it. I was selling on eBay. And I still have some of my sales. Eddie Yarnell, Ruben Mateo, Ricardo Arambeles. I mean, some of those names they were selling. Mateo was selling for like $4 a card back then. So that's kind of, and then off and on. And then I collected, during college, after college, in your early 20s, kind of put it aside, didn't really collect much. But I always came back to Bowman. And then probably somewhere in the mid 2000s, I started collecting the run of sets, the Bowman sets, never really completed them, but I've always just kind of been a big Bowman fan. And and I think it all roots into 98, buying the first Bowman box, which I think the roots actually started in 89, seeing that Ty Griffin card, the Topps Ty Griffin card. And then that, sprung into my love for prospects in minor league baseball, and then finding Bowman, which, hits those. So let's see. So that's my love for the Bowman brand. Not because of Bowman. Jenny says Madison is huge for collectors and they're donating. The way you have 135 tables show with 1,000+ shoppers. Madison is Wisconsin in general is a great hobby state. Like sports collectors digest and sports. What's the other one? Were produced here up north. Iola, I think, Wisconsin, where the publishing company is. Sport Lots is based in Green Bay. Larry Fritsch Sports Cards is in Stevens Point. We now have multiple shows throughout the state. Of course, Madison Card Show. Oak Creek Show is this Saturday in Oak Creek next to Milwaukee. There's a couple other shows in the Milwaukee area. Stevens Point has a show now. Wausau has a show now. I think there's one in like Kenosha. What else am I missing? So yeah, there's a lot of shows, and it's just a great collector base throughout the state. It's a great state. Let's see. Sounds like it's Madison is where collections go to die, and then I bring them back to life. From a Goodwill pallet. It's the Florida of the hobby. Hey now. Abraham, what is up? Also hates the 89 Bowman. Why were Bowman foils in the base set? That was strange. That was strange, I think. That was strange. Kelowna, that's Kelowna, Wisconsin. Kelowna, Wisconsin has a great dairy. Also spelled differently. Kelowna, Wisconsin, spelled with a K. Kelowna, Illinois is Colona. In fact, little tidbit about Kelowna, Illinois. It used to be two like towns. There was Kelowna and Green Rock, but they were basically the same town. And there was a big to-do about combining the names. And were they going to go with Kelowna or Green Rock or a completely different name? And that was a big controversy. And I think that was in the late 90s, around the time I was going there to the card shop. Green Rock, no more. It's just Kelowna. Kelowna with a C. Going to lose service shortly. I'll catch the rest later. Have a great day. Thank you, Herman. Baseball card curmudgeon. Whatever happened to the career of Brooks Kieschnick? By the way, Brooks Kieschnick is on Twitter. Him and I converse quite often. He's a great follow. He helped me with one of the first tweets I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, I was going to bid on a game used bat of his. And I said, hey, is this one of your game used bats? And he said, yep, that's actually one of my old bats. So yeah, he's on, I think it's Kiesch23 on Twitter, Kiesch 23. A young Cub draftee and two-way player who might have been a top 20 college hitter pitcher of all time. He and Darren Dreifert were Shohei back then. Yeah, Brooks Kieschnick, Texas Longhorns, had an amazing college career. He's still down in Texas, and follow him on Twitter, Kiesch23. Let's see. Speaking of shows, what shows are you setting up at in June? Probably zero. Possibly if there's, it's kind of I've got to reach out. I'm going to a birthday party for a friend of mine the big 4-0, the second weekend in June. So I may do the Rockford show and then go over there because it's about an hour drive to my friend's place from there. So I may do that. I may double dip, do the card show and then the party, because I do want to set up at a show, because otherwise I probably won't set up at another show until August, the August Rockford show. So that's the plan. Otherwise, none, because the Tim, what's up, Tim? What show are you hitting up this weekend? None. I will be back in my hometown Saturday and Sunday. I've got a wedding this Saturday, and then kind of the town celebration on Sunday. So no shows for me this weekend. The following weekend, my friend's birthday party, which I may hit up Rockford. I don't know. And the third weekend, I'm just going to leave open because I just kind of want to lay low, get caught up on things. And then the next weekend after that is the Madison card show, which I will not set up at. It's just too much with the 2 rooms set up. Back to 2 rooms in June and moving forward, just because of the smaller table issue I had. Plus, that third room really broke up the show. Didn't like it. Then it's 4th of July weekend. So, and then I think my schedule doesn't work to set up at any shows in July either. Cooter says, when it's 400 below for 8 months, indoor hobbies always seem to be popular, right? What show are you hitting up this weekend? Cooter ain't lying. The 3 C's of Wisconsin: cards, curds, and curling. John, my Kelowna. Oh, sorry, that's my Sharona. Don't have too much fun setting up my first show in Oak Creek. That's awesome. Give Tony my best. Tony's a great promoter, an awesome show in Oak Creek. Victor's, I'm going to hit the card show in Peru. Oh, maybe I'll hit that show, because Peru is, if I take interstate, I drive right through Peru. So if I want to hit up Wal-Marts on my way back to my hometown, I take that route, because I actually hit up the Wal-Mart in Peru. So we'll see how late of a start I get on Saturday. If I can make it out early, I may hit that show up in Peru. That's a mall show. Let's see. I believe that's the mall show. Abraham, I saw Brooks Kieschnick hit a monster game-tying 9th inning home run versus Arizona in like 2004 in Miller Park. Brewers ended up losing in 15 innings. Yeah, he went on to play after the Cubs went on to play with the Brewers. Jenny says Wisconsin is so huge for collecting. I didn't realize it. It is. It's like I think it's like an underrated. It's kind of like a forgotten area for collecting, but it's a huge collecting state. Victor confirms it is a mall show in Peru. I think because so much teams close by: Brew Crew, Sox, Cubbies, Packers, Bucks. Yeah, and I think probably that's a good read. Like, why is it? And I think Cooter hit on it. It's freaking cold here 8 months a year. So indoor hobbies. And I think early on, Larry Fritch Cards was started in like the early, like 1970 is when he started selling cards full time. So, I think some of those early pioneers of the hobby probably had a little, have a little something to do with that. So it was more, close to mind. And then with the publications coming out here, Sports Collectors Digest was published here. Some of the other hobby news publications, I think the Hobby News Report, Rich could answer that. But I wanted to say Kappa, but it's not Kappa. Kappa publishes Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I can't remember the publishing company that's in Wisconsin, but they do Sports Collectors Digest. I believe it's Iola, Wisconsin, which is up kind of around that Stevens Point area, I believe. I know it's north from here, which most of the state is. Let's see. John says few states have the collecting history that Wisconsin has. Ed says, got to run. Great stuff as usual. Thank you. You as well. Baseball card curmudgeon. I used to get Fritch catalogs in the mail routinely in the 80s and 90s. They were great. I still have a couple like from the 90s that are in my, I have a card folder of just random card documents that I kept from the 90s. There's a couple mail order, like back in the day, like in the back of Tough Stuff, Sports Collectors Digest, Beckett, you could like buy cards from random people. And so there was a guy, and he always sent it to Bean. My name's spelled Beau, and he thought it was an N, so it was Bean Thompson. My dad always gave me crap. He's like, Bean, you got some mail. So I'd get like his, handwritten, like copied handwritten notes, 1965 Topps list of Cubs cards or whatever it was I was after, usually Cubs. And yeah, I would get the Larry Fritsch catalogs. John says, my knowledge of Wisconsin has increased times 5 in a few months. Need a map open in another tab while watching this. Kraus was a huge hobby publishing company based in Iola during SCD's peak. That's what it was. Kraus Publications. Thank you. In Iola, Wisconsin. As you just noted, they were sold to Capitol. They have a Curd and Poutine Museum in Wisconsin. We have in Middleton, actually, it's right around the corner from my local post office. We have the World Mustard Museum right here in Middleton, Wisconsin. And it's actually pretty cool. And there's a lot of different mustards, and they have other they have other condiments that they sell there, not just mustard. But it's the World Mustard Museum, which was actually a clue on Jeopardy just like, I think 2 weeks ago. My wife and I watch Jeopardy every night, and it's like, we know that one. It's in our backyard. So yeah, I don't know where the Curd and Poutine Museum is, though. That's interesting. Rich says, not just Fritsch, but Joel Whitburn, who is the leading person in making billboard charts accessible in book form to people, is from Wisconsin. Interesting. That I did not know. Jason, good morning to you. Cooter says, oh, it's Bean from now on, and other stuff as well. I always wondered what was in the water then. Shame Bean's ball card is already taken, right? Let's see. Jenny says, John, I now know cities I ship to: Rockford, Oak Creek, Verona, because of this show. Baseball card curmudgeon Kraus was huge. Didn't they publish baseball? Yes, and I think they also did Baseball Card Magazine. Kraus did a whole bunch. I met Gorman Thomas at a Mustard Museum event. That's awesome. I've actually been to the Mustard Museum once. I think when my sister and brother-in-law came, we were doing like the touristy things. It's some of those touristy things that you don't, when you live somewhere that has like tourist attractions, you don't do those things because it's just like, oh, it's always there. You just kind of take them for granted. And so the Mustard Museum was one of those, always just took for granted. Yeah, it's there. I'll go eventually. And so, yeah, we had visitors, and that's when we went. Baseball card curmudgeon, you were hoping to make it into the Grey Poupon Hall of Fame. Making a murderer. Yes, Manitowoc is also Wisconsin lore. And on similar note, Jeffrey Dahmer in Milwaukee. Arthur Fonzarelli. We've got Laverne and Shirley. Let's see. Oh, good movie for y'all to check out on Netflix, Rescued by Ruby. That's like the New York City person who has never been to the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I'm actually, I've got Kraus Publications on Wikipedia right now. I'm trying to find the titles. Okay, let's see. Chester Kraus. Where are the publications? Looks like it's been sold a few times. Doesn't even have baseball cards. See, Sports Collectors Digest. Okay. So it just lists Sports Collectors Digest and a couple other collecting magazines. Let's see. Ed Gein. Yeah, Ed Gein. Another serial killer from Wisconsin. Card hobbyist. I went to college at Georgia Southern, home of the U.S. Tick Museum. Interesting. It's Slenderman. Slenderman was also in Wisconsin. Good God. Yeah, you're right. Cheeseheads are. Yeah, we have a lot of nastiness here. The U.S. Tick Museum. So I'm thinking of other like random museums. And like where I grew up, so we had in Kewanee, not Kewanee, Wisconsin, but Kewanee, Illinois, we had the hog capital of the world. But there was no like hog museum. I'm trying to think if there were any like museums or quirky things near where I grew up. I don't think there were. All these killers from Wisconsin, and we let Herman jump on a plane. Yep. And Herman made it. Herman made it. So that's what I wanted to touch on today. Serial killers in Wisconsin, the World's Mustard Museum, and Brooks Kieschnick and Sports Collectors Digest. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great Tuesday. Don't forget, tonight is Hobby Hotline, 8 p.m. Central. I'll be on with Uncle Rich and the Texas card dude, Brad Bethune. Looking forward tonight, 8 p.m. Central for Hobby Hotline. Should be a great one. At least if it's not great, we'll have a lot of fun doing it. So have a good Tuesday. Chat again tomorrow morning, 7 p.m. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. In the meantime, check out Hobby Hotline tonight at 8 p.m. Central. Have a great Tuesday. We'll talk tonight.